sis, sis, stop fighting with white people, okay? Because you need to understand how they understand the world, okay? Um, it's really important to understand that when they say there's no white privilege, there's no racism, there's no white supremacy, they're speaking from their self interest. Here's the thing, you may already know this, but let me make it plain for the folk in overflow. White supremacy, white privilege, systemic racism is all rooted in the amorality, the willed blindness of whiteness, meaning that white people don't see anything that's not in their self interest. Nothing. Look in your own real life and you'll see that everything they do is tied to them, what they think, what they believe, what they've experienced. You should see the comments I get. I just did this post about one of the insurrectionists who is getting community service, and she pleaded guilty. Okay, she pleaded guilty, and she's doing community service. Okay, she's not going to jail. Let that have been a black person. So people are posting, saying their piece, and white people feel a need to express themselves to help us understand that that's not racial. That she was a patriot and she did nothing wrong. Do you understand how very how can I say, self-absorbed you have to be to only see things from your point of view? So when they say there's no racism, it's no racism for them. Do you understand? They're not going to jail like we're going to jail. They're not being killed like we've been killed. They're not being trashed like we've been trashed. They're not. So in their world, it's not real. It's not real for them. Racism doesn't happen to them. They don't have racism. What they have is bad luck or bad day or a bad boss. They have no relationship to the whole historiography and positionality of race because it's not their reality. And you and I'm guilty of this, keep talking to them like they can understand, and they can understand because, as far as they're concerned, we're liars. We're crybabies. We're victims. We're all that. We couldn't just be right and they be wrong. No, because the benefit of whiteness is blindness, is deafness. And you need to get understanding that no matter what holiday, girl, you should see some of the posts the white people post about Juneteenth and how we, uh, if you want a good laugh, go read it. Okay? My point is this. I'm in a place in my own spiritual evolution, okay, in my emotional maturity, that I no longer fight fights I cannot win. I'm not arguing with white people no more about justice. I'm not doing that. I read this young lady, a black woman, post like we're doing incremental steps. It's a sign. Talking about Juneteenth, it's a step in the right direction. White people need to be our allies. White people are only our allies when it's in their self-interest, boo. And as long as you keep ignoring that, you're going to keep living under the illusion of equality. Okay? And there's no way to, there's nothing I can say to you about it because you haven't gotten to the reality of how there is no hope with regard to equality in America that's not in the interest of the self-interest of whiteness. And I'm not talking about a person. I'm talking about an institution, a come from, a positionality. I am talking about whiteness is rooted in blindness. And you keep speaking to the blind. You keep speaking to the deaf. You're arguing with the deaf. You're arguing with the blind who do not have eyes to see or ears to hear. So I'm not gonna talk you long, but I just want you to start noticing. Just notice how white people in your own life, in your own lived experience, everything they do is in their self-interest. And if you understand that, then you will not be tripping off the fact when they say racism isn't real. It's not real for them because they don't live it. They don't believe. They think they earned their life. They think they earned their way. There's no privilege. It doesn't matter. They came up hard. They worked really hard. Yeah, we work really hard too. And we don't have the infrastructure to sustain anything over generations because they burned it all down multiple times. Not just with Tulsa. There's at least 33 other ones. I'm not gonna get into that right now because I want to keep it light. But I just want to I put that word out there. I was looking at George Floyd's executioner and how they're playing with they're elongating the time by which they're going to sentence him. all white privilege, all whiteness, all white, 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 because they can. And we keep speaking like we're on an equal playing field, and we're not, which is why we need our own platforms. We can't, and I can bet you already there's going to be a bunch of white people who are going to come to this and explain to me how I'm wrong and how I'm a racist for even bringing up the subject. Watch, watch. And so, and if they get ugly, don't bother with it. Ignore it. That's just whiteness doing white shit. That's what white people do. Don't worry about it. It's not personal. Okay? They can't help it. I think it's funny that they would come to a black platform and post on it. A black platform for black women. They're gonna post on it. Uh huh. So it's just something. I just want to make sure I spit that so that y'all are prepared. Because if you keep relating like what they're doing is for us, whether it's the Juneteenth holiday or charging George Floyd's executioner, you want to start looking at the follow through and how everything they do is in their self interest. It is not about fairness, it's not about equality, it's about what works for them. And when you understand that, when they start spitting rhetoric about how there's no racism and how there's no such thing as systemic racism and how we should be talking about race in schools and how we're going to make the white kids feel guilty. Never mind the black babies who don't know about their background, who don't know about their history. Never mind that. We don't want the white kids to feel uncomfortable or feel bad. And it's just, and no one is trying to make anybody feel bad. The stuff they did was bad. So whitewashing it or leaving it out is their way of keeping their children innocent while they organize every aspect of American existence to have our babies on track for the prison pipeline by the third grade. Okay? So I need you to wake up in a very different way than regular. I need you to really start to see the matrix of like the wires of work, how they have it set up. That it's never them, it's always us. And they don't want to tell the whole truth. They want to tell the truth that makes them look good. They want to perpetuate a narrative of white masculinity superhero save a nigga day. You see what I'm saying? So, like I said, I'm not gonna talk you long. Don't need to. Just want to get it in. Racism, white supremacy, and white privilege is not real for white people because they haven't lived it. They don't see it. It's invisible to them. Even if you and literally, they literally cannot see it. So don't argue with them. Don't fight with them. Don't try to convert them. Don't explain anything to them. Just let them have their opinion. I don't even respond anymore. I just block. It's a block party. It's a block party. Woo, woo. It's a block party. I just block them because they're not committed to anything except for being right about how they're right. And they have the right to have their rights, but we have no right to have any rights. Okay? Stay woke. Be aware. I'm going to push. I'll be my girl. Girl. When I saw this white chick not get anything but community service for storming the Capitol, and we have people in jail for decades for selling marijuana, it's amazing to me how evident how evident it is there are to Americans that they can't see. What they see is that we are trifling, we're lazy, we brought it on ourselves, we don't obey the law. Um, they see everything the media see everything the media perpetuates. Okay, so like that. And I'm not. And here's the thing, y'all. Please hear my word. I'm not mad. I just need to educate my folk, especially my women, so that y'all can stop really living in this hope and fantasy that they're going to ever do anything for us because they haven't. They only do what's in their self-interest, and they do not see us as equals. They see us as less, and you can look at how they pay you to validate what I am saying. If they thought of you the way they thought of themselves, how come they're not paying you the way they pay themselves? How come you don't have the jobs that they have? How come you don't get the education they have? How come you don't get the loans for your homes with the same kind of interest that they get? How come you don't have the same kind of corner office? How come, if we're so equal, how come we can't ever have what they got, y'all? Again, I just want to put it out there so y'all can start really contending with how whiteness protects itself at the sacrifice of you, black women, and the brothers who love us, and all historically marginalized people. Okay? So that's all I'm spitting today. That's all I'm spitting today. I'm not going to have it heavy. I'm not going to handle it heavy. Like I said, I don't want to talk you long. I don't know how long this is, but I don't want to talk you long. But if you're fed by this word, please share it. No one is talking to us about this but me. And I saw, girl, let me say this before I get off. Girl, I saw, I heard some anti-racism chick, black woman, on the news talking about the benefits of Juneteenth. And she, girl, people, she said that June 19th, 1865 was the end of slavery. Wow. And she's supposed to be a person who knows about history, right? Well, it's not the truth. It's the end of slavery in Texas. It's 2 years and 2 months after the Emancipation Proclamation, and then on by December there was still at least three other Missouri. Oh God, there were at least three other states that had other that still had slaves after the 19th, and so the amendment got ratified in December 8th, 1865. Okay, so her facts are wrong, but they have her on the news, and she's only saying what the white people want to hear. She's not even, and they're also on the right direction. But I'm like, we've been stepping for 400 years, and you're okay with that. I'm not okay with it, so I'm going to keep talking. Okay, I'm not, and I don't want you to be okay with it. I don't want you to be complacent. I don't want you to actually not understand that structurally it's set up so that they never have to experience us. They can always control the books. They can always control what they teach our kids. They can always control what gets on television and what gets on media until we build our own platforms. I'm serious. I got some new things popping off. I got some new things popping off. Kind of excited about it. I'm gonna hold it close until I know for certain if I want to move in that direction. But I got some things. I feel like God is moving. So I got you. I'm coming. So stay with me. Okay. But please, if you're fed by this word, sharing is an act of love. Okay. This is, we keep saying we want something different, but we're going to have to share knowledge to start thinking differently. Okay. So please share this video. Do you have to? No. But if you do, you're going to be feeding somebody who's not being fed. It's an act of love to share. They can listen or not, but if they don't have the choice, then they're stuck with what white people say about us. Okay? So I'm inviting you to please share the knowledge. All right? I love you, sis. I love you, bro. I appreciate you. I love you, allies. And I want you to be clear. This is not an angry white people rant. I got some wonderful white people that I just love and adore, just who really get it and who have my back. And they have done the internal healing, excavation. They have done the work to get the communication and not be limited by white privilege. Okay? So I want y'all to be clear. So all for all the haters in the back, I am not talking bad about white people. I am talking bad about white fucking privilege. That's what I'm talking about. And I didn't curse that much, y'all. So y'all can tell, y'all can say I did good. I didn't curse too much today. In fact, I only cursed like 3 times. Okay. I love you, sis. Love you, bro. Love you, fam. Please share this video, and I'll keep you posted. I got some things. Stay tuned. Okay. Keep your eyes open.